Hi, this is Mitch Doan, and along with Jamie Richardson, we're your hosts of the Break-Thru Active podcast. We aim to deep dive into health and fitness that will help bring you a better understanding of topics that are of interest to you and can help you on your own journey. If you are enjoying the episodes, we'd love for you to leave us a rating on the platform you listen to your podcasts. Enough from me, sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome back to the Break-Thru Active podcast. I have another guest with me today, one of our Cardiff members, and that is Renee. So thanks for coming on today, Renee.
No worries.
Renee's been training with us sort of on and off a little bit, which we will discuss here shortly, for the last couple of years. She was actually one of our members who started at boot camp back in maybe, 2019, 18?
Yep. Yeah, 18, 19.
18, 19. It's been a while. So we've known each other for quite a while. And now she trains with us over at our Cardiff location. So just wanting to talk a little bit about her journey with that, what she'd done in the past before we met her. And then she's recently had a baby and returned to training after that. So wanting to discuss that. So let's talk about the time before you met us, Renee. So what had you done as an adult leading up to when we first met you a few years ago, as it relates to exercise and training and things?
Yep. So before I started boot camp, I was basically just running, doing cardio. When I could go for a run, I would go for a run. But yeah, I wasn't super active, never really been in a gym, that sort of thing. And I just reached a point where I needed something more in my life. So that's when I found you guys on Facebook and decided to join up.
Yeah, cool. And that's the sort of period where a lot of people, in their life, when they've done sort of little bits, in their sort of teens and 20s and early 30s, and that's where they kind of get to that point where they are wanting something different. Their sort of motivation runs out a little bit, doing it by themselves. But
Exactly.
It is very interesting that you hadn't really been to a gym or anything before, because most of the time people have sort of dabbled in a few bits and pieces. But were you nervous to start?
I was a little bit, but my husband, he's a rugby player and he's always had a gym in the garage. So it wasn't that I didn't know what a gym was about and what the exercise entailed. It was just, I think what really hit me was, I think he's not my youngest now, my second youngest, he was about 3, and I think we went up to Hamilton Island and the boys wanted to go kayaking. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fit, we can do that. I couldn't use a kayak. Like, I have no upper body strength. So I'm like, yeah, I kind of got to do something about this. I've got 3 boys, they're physically active. I need to up my game. Running's not enough anymore. So yeah, that was probably the thing that I started looking into it. And I've always been small, like I'm not a big person. So it was never about weight or losing weight. It was just really, I had to condition my body.
Yeah. So. And there is occasionally that light bulb moment for people, and again, come in different ways and forms. Occasionally it is when people go to the doctor and the doctor says, listen, you've got to start exercising because you're overweight and, all the health problems that come with that. Other times it is, they'll see themselves in a photo or, and they don't like what they see. But like in your case, it's more from like a physical level where you weren't able to do some of the things or something that you wanted.
Yeah, and it was something you think was simple and it wasn't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, and that's where I guess having children, I don't have children, but a lot of, a lot of our members do. And just about all of them will say the same, especially when you've got younger kids, they're high energy, they're always wanting to do stuff, and keeping up with them is a workout in itself. And then you combine something, physically intensive like kayaking, or, whether it is like going for a hike or, on holidays. And it's quite often that's when, we will hear that, people are wanting to make a change because they haven't been able to do something that they want. So do you remember your first session? Because you're at Warners Bay, weren't you?
Yeah, I was at Warners Bay, and it was with Ryan, actually.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was one of those boxing sessions, and pretty much like I'm not a boxer. So that session, I hated it. I was like, oh my God, I've got gloves flying at my face. What the hell is going on? So, but, and I think I probably went to 2 more boxing sessions after that and never,
that was it.
I avoided that day. But yeah, and it was 5:15 in the morning as well.
Yeah.
So that was a real shock to the system, but it was good. It wasn't like it wasn't one of those sessions where the next day you couldn't move at all.
Yeah.
Like you felt good.
It's funny that people will willingly get up at 5 a.m. to come and get punched in the face boxing. Not quite that. But
yeah,
you probably would have had Carolyn and Tanya at that session.
exactly.
Even to this day, you know this, but they always bug me, or Carolyn does, about when are we bringing back boxing?
Yeah. Oh, I love working out with Carolyn. It's good.
Yeah, good. But no, it's always interesting to talk about people's first experience, and obviously, you know, you didn't really like the actual boxing itself, but I do remember, you know, training you quite a bit and talking with you, and you became very consistent, you know, early on.
Yeah.
And then
before I had Felix, I was like 5 to 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Right.
You were very, very much, you know, in there just about every morning. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Felix. So that was a little bit more recent. You had another baby. So how old is he now?
He's 7 months old.
Okay. So you've been back training. That would be probably since about the start.
5 months.
5 months?
Yeah.
How does your body feel now? I mean, when you first got back into it 5 months ago compared to before you had baby, what differences did you see?
It was a shock to the system. It was a really big shock. And because I'd been training so consistently, I just thought I could just jump straight back in and do it. And it's like your mind is saying, I know how to do this, I can do it. And your body's saying, nah, you can't do that. You have to, like, and I suppose it is, everything inside is shifted around. So your center of gravity is different. Your flexibility is different because your ligaments are still quite loose. So they're not supporting you the way that you want to be. And I had to really talk myself down. It was a mental thing saying, go slower, take smaller steps. And I think Steve was really good with that because usually he's someone that really pushes me to up the weights. He's like, no, let's lower it down. Let's keep lowering it down. Let's just go slow. And I think probably the last 4 weeks, I've only just started feeling like myself in the gym, like that I can do whatever I was doing before. I'm still not doing the same amount of weights. I'm giving myself a bit more grace, I think, because, I mean, I'm not sleeping as much as I used to. So, and sleep's a huge factor. Like I can have probably 4 hours sleep, then go to the gym, and there's no way I could be doing the same amount of weights I was doing 12 months ago now, because your body's too fatigued.
Yeah, it's a big change in your body. It's a big change in lifestyle, and I think you find, you know, especially when people have been consistent and, you know, with their training before, like you were, in your mind, you're thinking, I should be able to do more than this. You know, I used to do this weight, or I used to do this many sessions in a week, and I used to, you know, be able to run this far or hold a plank for this long. But the reality is, you know, your body's just undergone such a huge change through the whole pregnancy, and then obviously, you know, childbirth and the recovery from that. And I think that can be a really big setback for people mentally. And if you get beyond that thought of, you know, I am a different person than I was a year ago, 9 months ago. And like you mentioned, you're just approaching things a little bit differently now, which I think is really smart. And that's the way you are going to be able to now stay consistent with your training. It looks a little bit different than what it did, but knowing that in due time, you know, as you start to hopefully get a bit more sleep and Felix grows up and your body's starting to return to normal and you're starting to rebuild some of that core strength and that fitness that, you know, you may have lost during the pregnancy and having the baby and everything. And just knowing that, you know, that will come. But I think that's a really important message for new mums. And I think you put that really well, because you went from that, you know, just about training every day to sort of now taking a little bit of a step back, weights a little bit lighter, intensity, lighter. How's that core strength been feeling? Because I know that's obviously like the one that probably gets impacted the most. So have you seen change in the last 5 months with that?
I'm noticing that it's better. Like even probably the center of gravity was a thing that you could notice was really different. And as that core strength's built up, that's getting a lot better. Like I can do lunges now without wobbling. Like that was a real shock to me. Is trying to do a lunge and you're like, oh, I'm going to fall over.
Well, you don't have this big lump on the front of your belly anymore.
Yeah. So the core strength is starting to build up again, which is really good. And I think upper body strength, like you'd think that you'd have really good upper body strength because you're carrying a baby around all the time, but because you've had such a huge stomach for 9 months, that really takes a hit too, because you can't lift anything heavy, really heavy during that 9 months, or awkward heavy, I should say. You can still do weights and everything quite safely while you're pregnant, but yeah, it's all very different.
Yeah. So when did you pull up stumps when you were pregnant? Like when were you working out until?
I pulled up pretty early on because I had quite bad morning sickness.
Yeah.
So I think I was probably about 16 weeks when I stopped.
Yeah. So about 4 weeks in. And then you got started again. It wasn't that long after, was it?
No, I was 8 weeks. I was straight back into it, 8 weeks postpartum.
I was just trying to sort of reverse engineer how much time that would have been. So you would have had like 24 weeks between 16 and 40, and then 8 weeks. So that's 32 weeks. So and that's where, for anybody, if you don't work out for 8 months, like you're going to come back and everything's going to be a lot harder, and it takes time to get back into it. Combined with obviously going through pregnancy, childbirth, and everything that comes with that, and the change in lifestyle with sleep and whatnot that you mentioned too. And I just don't think that women should be too hard on themselves, because like you said, 8 months off training and combined with everything else, it is going to take time. It's going to be an adjustment period. And I think it's important to be realistic with what you can come back to do, because it can play on your mind. Did you sort of find that when you first came back, like mentally it was tough?
Yeah, it was harder. And I think because you're judging yourself on so many other aspects of your life, it's so hard to, like, you're like, oh crap, I haven't been to the gym all week. I've only got 2 days left. I better go.
Yeah.
But you haven't slept all week. Like don't just be a bit nicer to yourself. And I think that is really when I realized, okay, I'll just aim for 2 days. And then if I can get to my 3rd day, which is like your sweet spot, as Jamie always says, that's your sweet spot. 3 days is what you want. If I can get to that 3rd day, then I've ticked the boxes. So I think that's a good mindset to have.
For sure. And that's where, if you're coming twice in the week and you're aiming for that 3rd and that 3rd never comes, then you've still done 2 workouts. Like it's still if you do that consistently over enough time, you're going to see really good progress.
See some change.
Yeah,
exactly.
And obviously after going through childbirth and recovery and changing lifestyle, it's just not realistic to think that every week's going to be great. Baby's up late some nights, and you get broken sleep, and then you just kind of have to make the choice between, do I want to get some extra sleep or do I want to go work out? And sometimes sleep wins, which is
but in the same token though, exercise, after you actually get there and do it, you have more energy, you do feel better. It is a good mental wellness thing as well, like leaving the house and doing something, breaking the routine. I think that's really beneficial too for mums to go and do that.
And for sure.
It's so easy at Break-Thru.
I hope the workouts aren't too easy.
No, as in I can walk in there and Steve will stand in front of the baby the whole time, or Kelly will grab him and carry him around. So it's it's easy in terms of, as long as you get yourself there, the baby's fine.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And for mums and dads and all people, whether you do have a young kid or you've got older kids or teenage kids, it's really important to have something for yourself too.
Yeah.
If you and it's a conversation I have all the time, and again, I don't have any personal experience because I'm not a parent, but I've had enough conversations with people that as a parent, you put kids first. And I think that's totally fair. But it gets to that point that if you're not doing anything for yourself, you're probably limiting how good of a mum or dad or parent.
You can't be a good parent. No, I think that you've got to be selfish in some instances. And like I do put my kids first, but my physical health, like it helps my mental health, my physical health. It helps me be a better parent by exercising. Like I'm more likely to go and do something physical with the kids because I can. And if I was still just running like I was 4 years ago, I wouldn't be doing extra stuff with the kids.
Yeah. And that kind of ties in with why you wanted to do it in the first place, because there was some things that your kids wanted to do and you found it hard to keep up. But no, you've done very well in this whole comeback, since the beginning of the year. And although it looks a little bit different for you now, because obviously, like we just mentioned, a lot's changed. But I think a lot of new mums can take a leaf out of your book with how you're approaching things. And you said it really well, where you just need to be kind to yourself, because if you put too much unnecessary pressure on yourself, you can get a bit down. But knowing that even if you're doing a few workouts a week, it's a few more workouts than most people are doing.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and I think it's just a matter of time. Like if I keep comparing myself to what I was like, it's just not going to get anywhere. Like even like my nutrition's gone to crap, to put it nicely, like, because really you're fueling your body to feed a baby, to stay awake, to keep going. Like, and that part will come. Like I'm not even thinking about that. Like I think I'll get through getting him into a routine, get myself into an exercise routine, and then I'll get into the nutrition side of it again. So,
I think even for people who haven't just had a baby, that's a good way to look at it, because if you try to change too much at once, it becomes very overwhelming. Like I still remember when we first spoke, well, not very first time, but like 5 or 6 months ago when we got back and we were just talking about exercise. If I had have said, we need to get on this nutrition plan, you need to cut this out, you need to do this, like you might not have, you're pretty nice, you might not have tell me where to go, but you wouldn't have been able to do it. It would have just been too much at that point. Whereas like you've just said, you focus on the exercise component and the nutrition stuff, it'll come. Like it's not like you've abandoned it forever. It's just at the moment your body needs that to be able to support the baby, and the exercise part's doing well. And down the line, when you want to sort of lock in with the nutrition stuff again, I'm sure you will. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. Well, we might leave it for there today, Renee, but thank you so much for coming on. And I think this is a really, really good discussion for new parents and new mums who may have either gone through this recently or are going through this, or we do have some pregnant women in our program too, and this might be really cool for them to be able to listen to and know what a little bit more of what to expect from your experience recently. So thanks for sharing.
No worries.
All right.
Thanks, Mitch.
No worries. Thanks, Renee. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If there is a topic you'd like us to discuss that we haven't already, please make sure you reach out in Facebook Messenger and we'll do our best to cover it in the upcoming episodes. For those of you enjoying the podcast, we'd love for you to like, subscribe and leave us a rating. It really helps us grow and spread the good word. Hoping you're all having a great day, and we'll be sure to see you on the next one.